So welcome everyone who's watching the video today. My name is Thalbir, and this is something I wanted to share around letting yourself feel an invitation. And my own background is in yoga and transformational coaching, as well as having worked in the corporate world for about 10 years before that as well. And I felt inspired to share this because of what I see happening in the world at the moment, and the power of distraction. And what I'm sensing is that, there's a lot of pain and suffering and confusion. And oftentimes, there's a mechanism we have for dealing with that is to blame something outside of us. So it's the government or the doctor or someone in your family, which I think is part of the process of us coming back to a truth for ourselves, but it also can cause a lot of pain and polarization and division as well. So I wanted to create this short video today to support you if you feel like you're struggling, like you're not giving yourself permission to feel. But there's all these kinds of things going on outside of you in the world, inside of you as well. So I just wanted to share a few things that I found really helpful, and also that you might find helpful as well. And then I'd like to read you something that I wrote today around this, which is not quite a poem, but more around my own reflections as well. And the reason I feel so passionate about sharing this, let yourself feel, is because it's seeing that when we don't allow ourselves to feel, it becomes part of the unconscious response that we have. So, we might get super angry at somebody, maybe someone close to us, a family member, because there's something underneath going on. It might be road rage. It might be somebody on a phone line call center. And oftentimes, we might wonder afterwards, oh, I didn't mean to just blow out like that. But this is also an invitation to come back home, to take some time to explore and come within. So the first thing I want to share is the importance of cultivating a powerful relationship with yourself, and specifically the part of you that is wise and loving, that has access to your life experience. So this adult self that you have. Because oftentimes part of what's happening is we're in a place of powerlessness and feeling like a victim. So we can really start to shift that by coming into our own sense of personal power and connecting with our wise, loving, resourceful presence. And I also love to connect with the part of us that's eternal. Some might call it your higher self, your spiritual self. And I find that is an anchor in these choppy waters. And you might have a practice to connect with that part. So it might be prayer, singing, dancing, journaling, but really bring in that eternal self to come intentionally to support you when you're moving through allowing yourself to feel, especially the feelings that aren't comfortable, that are painful, that feel heavy and deep. So once we've done that, there's also this attention to stopping ourselves being distracted. So moving from the external to the internal. That's a really important step on this journey, is to come back home. And some ways of doing that is to have a conversation And I often find it's better to have a conversation with a neutral party. So not necessarily a family member or the person that you're feeling, perhaps these feelings directed towards. And even friends are not necessarily neutral. So seeing if there's somebody that you can have a conversation with. And oftentimes the conversation's with ourselves. So again, you might write something down, you might record what you're feeling. So just tuning into what works for you. And from there comes this permission to feel. There's a softening and an unfolding that starts to take place. And it can feel very uncomfortable and overwhelming. And this is why it's so important to go back to the first step around connecting with the wise, resourceful, loving presence and being anchored in your eternal spiritual self. They really provide very strong foundations so that you don't feel like you're in a washing machine. As someone said to me the other day, like, you're being pushed and tumbled around here, there, everywhere. And then there's the physical feelings that might actually come. So I know I had a lot of anger, even rage, I would say. I was feeling in the last few days as something unresolved came up, and the person it was connected to also had been in touch with me. So I had to really just feel it out. And unfortunately, I did project some of it out on my dad, which I didn't mean to do, but it happened. And I could clearly see, because I was in pain and hurting from feeling this trigger. And so I realized I needed to go outside and just like stomp around and breathe, which I did. And that can be super helpful as well, because often these feelings, we can lock them away. And so they can be super scary, like I said, when we start to unravel or feel, or just give them some care and attention as well. And this again is an important time to be asking for support. So I find movement, I do yoga, I love to dance and move, and I do that daily. I find that super helpful, especially when processing the heaviness, the darkness, the sadness. And there might be tears, there might be all kinds of things happening. And it's not always in our control. But what we can have a safety around is this connection to the wise, loving presence that we have and our spiritual, eternal self. They can serve as very powerful anchors. And you might find yourself also, when you're asking for support, there's like some incredible groups out there where people are helping each other move through these things as we evolve. For some of us, calling it ascension process. And it's such a gift to give yourself if you're feeling the call, because I really feel like some of us we're just feeling the call to go there. And we know that by doing that, we become free, we become liberated. We can unlock what's going on and unravel. So it really is important to ask for support. And it starts with you supporting yourself. And that starts with the wise, loving presence, connecting with that wise, loving presence, connecting with your spiritual self. Find those are really fundamental and key to this whole experience and practice. And then the last thing I'd suggest is around journaling, is around reflection. So we all reflect in different ways, but it's such a powerful practice, reflection. Some of us will do it through journaling. Some of us might be writing songs and poems or creating artwork. All that's part of our reflection. So whatever serves you, calls you, there's an invitation to explore that. And also speaking it out, I find super helpful. Speaking it out, writing a letter. You might not even send the letter to the person that it's intended for, But just getting it out of your body, out of your cells, is so helpful. And it starts to heal the wounding that we feel, and it heals the pain that we feel. So it's a real gift to give yourself that as well. So just to recap, anchoring into the loving, wise, resourceful adult presence that you are, anchoring into the eternal self, the spiritual self. That's the first place. Second is to stop the distraction. It kind of happens naturally at some point as well, but you can notice, am I distracting myself? Is there something here calling for my care and attention? Then the permission to feel, as you anchor into the wise, loving, resourceful presence and the eternal self. There is this natural permission to feel that will unfold. And sometimes it literally is us saying, okay, I need to just spend some time with this now. I need to hold myself. I need to give myself some love, some attention and care. There's parts of me crying out, screaming, and I can see them expressing in road rage, in anger, in unconscious responses to others. And I'd like that to be an opportunity for me to start to take a look within myself. And then when we are moving through those physical emotions, rage, anger, sadness, despair, grief, it's to feel them. So like I said, me stomping outside, I said stomping, literally was stamping my feet on the ground just to let that energy move through me. Some of us might want to scream. So we do want to let ourselves have some kind of expression of what that is. It's very important. You might even just want to shake it out physically, shaking out. Making sounds as well can be super helpful as well. And then asking for support. So often we try and do this on our own. Having, like I said, this neutral person to speak to is really helpful, preferably not a family member and perhaps not even a friend, but somebody that is like a safe space for you to just express with no judgments, no interruptions. That can be incredibly helpful. And I found just recording myself so helpful, to just speak it out, to really let it out from the voice. And finally, the reflection piece. It kind of comes in all the way through the reflection, but it is this idea of journaling, writing, speaking, expressing. And that can just feel like a soothing balm once we've gone through. So that's what I wanted to share with you today around let yourself feel. And I'd love to read something I wrote today, which is called I'm Feeling. So just going to invite you to take a breath. Permission to feel. I'm feeling the pain and sadness. Part of me wants to run away, and yet my heart is breaking and awakening. Can I hold myself with compassion and care? Can I let myself be tender and feel it all? Will I welcome it to move through me? Will I vomit it out on you as it starts to get too much? Can I resist the temptation to blame and shame? Can I resist the temptation to blame and shame? My way of calming my nervous system and coping to feel safe. And yet in my heart, I know this is not true. Can I see the part I also have to play here? Or will that be too painful to. So instead, I can feel that I'm right and push you away. And yet I know that you are suffering also. Is there a way we can meet in the middle? Or does it have to be your or my way? Is there a way we can meet in the middle? Or does it have to be your or my way? I don't know, and so I tune in to listen and feel. I don't know, and so I tune in to listen and feel. The tears flow and the pain starts to unravel and reveal. The anger and rage that is wanting to express itself to me. The heavy guilt, the burdensome blame and shame that is weighing down on me like a ton of bricks. It's too much, I can't do it. And so there's a part of me that wants to run away. And yet my heart is breaking and awakening. It's going to be okay. And so I tune in to listen and to feel. Give yourself permission, she whispers, as I stomp around in the woodlands outside. Give yourself permission, she whispers, as I breathe it out and move around. Slowly, gently, with time, attention, and care, I start to soften. Slowly, gently, with time, attention, and reflection, I start to allow. Slowly, gently, easy does it, she whispers. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I'm just going to close out now, just to take a deep breath. Ah, noisy exhale, letting yourself feel. Tuning in and tuning out. Connecting with the part of you that is wise and loving, resourceful and strong. Connecting with the higher self, the spiritual self, the eternal self that is all knowing and seeing. And as you listen and trust, as you listen and feel, as you listen and trust, it will show itself to you and reveal what it needs to. Thank you for letting me share. Thank you for tuning in. Lots of love and many blessings. Look forward to seeing you soon. And just a gentle reminder, you can connect with me at Cultivate Your Calling on Facebook, and also at Thalbir Korshoka. And my email is connect@thalbir.com. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Enjoy the after effects of our solar eclipse today as well. I'm wishing you many blessings, much love, tenderness and care. Bye for now.